Hello. Guess we're doing this again. I figured what the video one was really kind of like a mini lecture, but I thought I'd talk about what some of that assignment has in common with each other. You'll remember back during the social media chapter, we quoted Luke Sullivan talking about, is what I'm creating adding something to someone's life? Is it useful, entertaining, or beautiful? And you'll notice with a lot of the videos that people were submitting in the discussion, they're a little bit of everything. And I did want to talk about the one that I had as my favorite, which was the With Glowing Hearts from the Vancouver Olympics. And there's a few things going on there. One is that it is useful in a way. It's telling us a little bit more about the Olympic spirits, but it's also about Paralympics too. It's not just look at this really famous person who's going to win gold medals. It's about everyday people, really, people overcoming a lot more than just training. People overcoming other obstacles, which makes it inspirational in a way. But it also tells you a little bit more not only about what the Olympics are, but about the Paralympics and so many other things that you wouldn't necessarily think about when you think about the Olympics. It's entertaining, I think. It definitely has. It's got a good soundtrack. Doves, which is a British band, was providing the soundtrack that the music you hear. And it's interesting because some Canadians actually were upset that it wasn't a Canadian artist doing the soundtrack. I would have, liked the Tragically Hip myself to be performing it, but who am I to tell them what to do? But again, that was underscoring it. It's well put together. They use a number of Canadian celebrities, some of whom you'd recognize, some of whom you won't. But the writing is also really, really good, and it's beautiful. It's so well shot. I especially like one of the images, which is coming over a mountain, and there's a skater skating the river, which is very arresting, very memorable. And there's a lot of they do some diverse casting. They make sure that there's a lot of messaging, but then it also that it falls within um, a specific kind of message. And I talk about the call to actions, which go through it. There are people discussing dream big things, find your voice, share your passion, don't be left wondering what if. I mean, that's inspirational, I think. Obviously that's for a very, very wide audience, and it's commonality. It's not about Olympics, it's about the Olympics, but it's also about life in general, about dreaming big, about finding your voice or figuring out who you are and what you have to say, about sharing your passion, finding your passion, sharing it with others, whether that is competing or singing or painting or telling stories or poetry, whatever it is, but sharing your passion. That's what I like about it. And don't be left wondering what if. So many times our lives are filled with regret, and that's what I like about this is that they're showing athletes going for it, but telling everybody everywhere, don't be left wondering what if. What if I had, asked this question of this person? What if I had, you know, what if I didn't decide to strike up a conversation? What if I didn't take up this hobby? What if I didn't take this class, for that matter? Well, hopefully, you still think that was a good idea. But that's an example there of how it transcends. And so I was impressed to look at some of the shorts and the stories that you had as your favorite videos, and some of them are very, very surprising. It's surprising twists to them, and I think that's one of the things that I think makes you remember things. Obviously, if something is cliche, I talk about all the Nike ads and the people who make ads look like Nike ads, and they're predictable. Hey, person, puts on Nike dunks, et cetera, et cetera. One of the more famous ones, I want to say it was a Wheaties ad, was Michael Jordan. That he did actually involved him like missing a layup or something like that. And I said, oh, I guess I didn't need my Wheaties or whatever, throwing in the unexpected, kind of going back to the storytelling chapter with the Got Milk campaign, where it was unusual that, the person didn't have milk. The person did not have the product, which was the hero, delivering for them. And so that what it made it memorable. So especially as you work forward with the ads that you're putting together, the radio ads, those, some people have done that already, which is cool, or the TV ads, think outside the box. And I hate that phrase because it's so cliche, but think outside of what is a normal execution. Think about something that is memorable. Is it useful, entertaining, or beautiful, or all of the above? Obviously, it's kind of hard to do that when you're not actually making a TV ad, not actually filming it, not actually editing it. But think about, what can make an impact that isn't just the same old. Because, I mean, I get ads that are the same old, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but it's also nothing that I'm going to remember that I'm going to say, oh, this is A plus work. It's just that's really for I always talk about competent work, will get a good grade. Creative, really creative, thoughtful work will get a better grade, I think. So, I want you to, dream big, but think outside of what you might think of as a normal ad, the normal, obviously I want you to make it effective. I want you to show how the ad is a hero in some way. That's important. But make sure that you're doing it in an effective way and not in a way that is horribly cliche, the type that we've seen over and over. That's still competent. If you're showing that your product does what it's supposed to, that's definitely competent. But again, if you can do something that's a little bit that's not cliche, that's not ordinary, that's not what everybody else would do, and also that it doesn't basically seem like something you can sub any product in. I've always felt like a Nike ad could be a Reebok ad, could be an Adidas ad. It's just a different brand. But what is unique about your brand, and how does that come across? And so that's a little bit of what I saw in the Olympics spot, because it was about the Olympics, but it was about something so much bigger. And a lot of the videos that you submitted are just amazing, as far as they have this element that really is memorable, that goes beyond an everyday thing, because part of it, like I said, there's a little bit of surprise, a little bit of the unexpected, but also a really strong story. That's what will make something memorable. That's what will make something, effective, I think, because an ad that you see and forget about a minute later is not effective. A video that you see and don't remember is not effective. The videos that you're posting up in the discussion, those are things that really left an effect on you, that you remember. So think about that, and think about going back one assignment, the stories, your favorite stories, what they might have in common as well that makes them memorable. So that's a little bit of thought to put in as you move forward with your assignments. Anyway, hopefully you're catching up. If you're not, always reach out to me and let me know what I can do to help you along, because we've got radio ad is due this week. TV ad will be coming up soon, and then we'll be heading toward the test and then the final, because the end of the semester will be here before you know it. So anyway, that's it. You all have a good night. Bye-bye.